All right, it is 9 o'clock on the dot. Here we are live in New York City. It's the East Coast of the United States. And thank you for joining me. My name is Daniel. And for those who are new here, if you are a nurse and you're struggling and you're feeling alone, sorry, the AC is a bit loud. Let me just. Okay. There you go. All right. All right, guys, welcome back to this live session. Although if you won't be able to see it live, this will be saved under the live section of the channel. All right. So as the title goes for tonight's topic, it is always have a 2-year plan with your nursing, I would say nursing career, but then nursing job, nursing career, nursing position. And in essence, I say that because the job of a nurse is really, really heavy. And you know that. You've seen how it is, you know how it is, or you're going through it. And it's really crushing on you, it's crushing on me, on us. It's crushing on our mind, our spirits when we have to drag ourselves every single day to get to work. Like it's really a pain. It's really a pain to do what we need to do. But what I find that really helps, that really pushes you forward, that really rockets you through is your purpose or your reason for being a nurse. So far in my life, I think I've only met one person who chose to be a nurse because she wanted to, like she just really wanted to. While everybody else was more of like, oh, I didn't know what to do, and I have relatives who are nurses, or for a better future abroad. Well, for nurses from the Philippines, India, Africa, usually it's one of the best ways, the fastest ways to go abroad, overseas, and to have good pay or decent pay. Depends on where you end up in. So that's the main headline for tonight. Always have a 2-year plan. And I just wanted to share this topic, or I wanted to talk about this topic because 2 days ago I applied for my U.S. citizenship, and it's been a long time coming. As a kid, I've always wanted to live in the States and be an American, and here we are, and that is thanks to nursing. And also, with nursing, I got to live in London for 4.5 years. I worked as a nurse there too. And I might be saying it like, oh, it's like a walk in the park. It was easy. Well, you know how memory is, right? Where when you go through something and it's over, and time has passed, and some distance has passed, it might not seem as heavy anymore. But believe me, there were a lot of tough times, really tough times. And I would say that if it weren't for my American dream, I would have quit a long time ago. And I did quit. Back in 2010, I worked as a nurse, and my first job was at a 500-bed facility hospital, tertiary hospital, at a Joint Commission accredited hospital. And I thought I was confident, but then lo and behold, medical surgical floor with a communicable disease or isolation wing overwhelmed me. And this was in the Philippines. It overwhelmed me. I had to quit after a week or two after training, and I really thought I wouldn't be a nurse again. I had some time to reflect, about 2.5 years, or no, up to 2 years, of working in an English school, or in a school that teaches English to English as second language speakers. And I really got to reflect. And what I would ask myself, so what advice I would ask from other people is that, hey, would you, or rather it's this. My main dream was just to be in the States. And back then, recruiters would hire you if you had 2 years of experience as a nurse. So I would ask people, hey, would you be willing to, like, this is a job you really don't like, but are you willing to sacrifice 2 years of working in a hospital just to be able to go to the States? And I remember I asked a Korean student, and the Korean student said, well, Daniel, in Korea, they have what they call military service, which I think is 1 or 2 years. And so it's kind of the same thing. You have to do it. It's the law in Korea, and then you can be free to do whatever you want. And then I realized, you know what? He has a point. Think of this 2 years required experience in the Philippines as my military service form. And then once I go to the States, I can do whatever I want. And funny enough, this is how my dad sold me the dream or the idea to go to nursing school. In high school, I wanted to be an animator. I wanted to work for Disney. Of course, truth be told, I wasn't really a good drawer or sketcher. And later I learned that if you want to be an animator, going to you don't learn to draw in animation school actually. You have to already know how to draw. You have to be really good once you step into animation school. Anyways, so I'm just like, you know what? No, I have to follow my passion. I really want to be an animator. Da 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 da. I looked up schools in the States. And then my dad goes, Daniel, I understand that you really want to live in the States. How, but and that, the best way, the fastest way is to be a nurse. And then once you're in this, just be a nurse. And this is the kicker. My dad goes, and just, 4 years of sacrifice, and then you can do whatever you want in the States. All right? It's just 4 years of sacrifice, or you enjoy your 4 years, but then you'll have a lifetime of suffering. And my dad's point was like, if you're not gonna take a course that has, great job prospects, especially overseas, you'll be suffering. Of course, this is a perspective from the Philippines where it's really hard when you're not earning as much. As much. So I'm like, you know what? I said, Pops, I took a piece of paper and I wrote the contract, although I don't have it, it's with my dad, and I wrote the contract that goes, okay, I will take up nursing, me, but if I am not happy, if I end up miserable, my dad is responsible for that. And my dad agreed, he signed the contract or whatever. And it was funny because I'm just like, how can he be fully accountable for my happiness, for being honest? But anyways, long story short, I am grateful. I'm so grateful I took up nursing because I did research on the jobs for animators, and it's really a cutthroat industry. You have to be the best of the best. And in Disney, many of their positions are contractual, like project based. So once the movie production is done, you're not guaranteed a job, as I understand it, based on the testimonials I've read back in the day. And it was really that dream that carried me through my nursing career. Blood, sweat, and tears, taking the NCLEX, taking the exam for the UK, adjusting, and really, I just feel like with nursing, it's always on survival mode. And it can really get to you and destroy your spirit. Yeah. If you're unfortunate enough to be in a department or area that really is soul crushing, it can really get to you. But if you have a purpose, if you have a reason why you are doing that job as a nurse or you're working as a nurse, that will power you through. But remember this, and this is why the title of this video is 2-year plan, is sometimes that reason fades. All right, so that's why you always have to evolve. You always have to learn, skill up, be adventurous. And one advice from a nurse at London, when I worked in London and at King's College, was, sometimes nursing, the good thing with nursing too is that there's many positions, many departments, right? So she said, nursing, if you really want to get ahead, if you want to be smart about things, nursing is a game of Monopoly. You got to move around departments. Of course, in a perfect world, it's best to specialize, or it's really good to be specialized. But the question is, do you know what you want to specialize in? I didn't know what I want to specialize in. It was just happenstance that I ended up being, in the cardiothoracic. I applied, so I quit nursing, I gave up, soul searched, went back to nursing, and this time around, I chose to work in the ICU because I knew that to be a nurse in the States and beyond, you have to think really smart and be like a doctor. And that's what you get when you work in the ICU as a nurse, because you're forced to really be critical, to think critical about things. Yep, so here we are. I didn't really stay long in the ICU because I would progress after like maybe 2 year. Usually it's a 2 year cap for me, and then after, so usually I stay in a place for like 2 years, but in that 2 years, after 1 year, that's when I begin to search for my next steps, my next plans, and start applying. So that once my 2 year mark hits, I'm free. And it is a wonderful thing to look forward to when something ends. And to wrap this video up, fast forward a decade later, I find myself thinking, what's next? Because my big dream, the reason for everything, the biggest dream of my life as a kid, as a Filipino, is to live in the States. And now I'm here. But then I'm finding myself lost because I'm just like, what's next? What's next? And this channel is a part of the next frontier. And so thank you for joining me and for supporting me. And if you're new, please like and subscribe, and I promise you all of my videos are worth it. And if you've got any questions, any topic you want to talk about, write them on the comments down below. And of course, just like my other videos, let's do our daily stoic. Let me get the book. I always do the daily stoic readings of the day, which is today is September 18, because it's very helpful. It helps me. It helps the daily stoic readings help my mindset with things, to be stoic, to be objective, take things as they are, and carry on. Right. Header for September 18 is dealing with pain. Yes, our jobs can be painful, but they can be meaningful if you choose. Okay? Whenever you suffer pain, keep in mind that it is nothing to be ashamed of, and that it can't degrade your guiding intelligence, nor keep it from acting rationally and for the common good. And in most cases, you should be helped by saying of Epicurus, that pain is never unbearable or unending. So you can remember these limits and not add to them in your imagination. Remember too that many common annoyances are pain in disguise, such as sleepiness, fever, and loss of appetite. When they start to get you down, tell yourself you are giving in to pain. Let me go back to this part here that says, pain is never unbearable or unending. And my interpretation is, it's unending because you have to put a stop at it. When you're in pain, you gotta do something about it. And then when you do something about it, it ends. So action is required. Analyzing what's going on is required. analyzing what you have to do next, who you have to call, what appointment you have to book to address the pain. Because you can't live in pain. I had pain here in the teeth. It was so painful. I had to book an appointment the next day, literally after work. I had to pay full $491 for a dental appointment with x-ray, etc. So it was that painful. If I had time, I could have used my insurance and find a dentist that accepted my insurance, but that would take, I don't know, God knows how long. And when you're in pain, you gotta do something about it. That's just life. Life calls to you, and you gotta take heed. I also like this part where it says that common annoyances are pain in disguise, such as feeling sleepy, loss of appetite, and fever. What that means basically is sometimes don't give in to the easy path when you have to be productive. All right. And also don't let pain get the best of you. Try your best to be above it. And what that means for me, literally, is when my teeth was really hurting, I really imagined myself being outside of my body and focusing literally on this part, like this space here. I was like, focus on this space. This space feels good. Like there's no pain here. There's no pain here. And that sort of helped. At least that helped to distract me. All right, let's finish this because it's getting, it's reaching 20 minutes and it's supposed to be 15 minutes only. All right, in 1931, on a trip to New York City, main character, Winston Churchill was struck crossing the street, by a car going more than 30 miles an hour. A witness at the scene was sure that he had been killed. He would spend some 8 days in the hospital with cracked ribs and severe head wound. Churchill somehow retained consciousness. When he spoke to the police, he went to great lengths to insist that he was completely to blame, completely to blame and wanted no harm to come to the driver. Later, the driver came to visit Churchill at the hospital. When Churchill heard that the driver was out of work, he tried to offer him, the man who had nearly killed him, some money. More than his own pain, he was worried that the publicity from the accident would hurt the man's jobs prospects, and sought to help how he could. Nature is merciful. He later wrote in a newspaper article about the experience, and does not try her children, man or beast, beyond their compass. It is only where the cruelty of man intervenes that hellish, I repeat, it is only where the cruelty of man intervenes that hellish torments appear. For the rest, live dangerously, take things as they come, dread not, all will be well. In the years to come, Churchill and the world would witness some of the most hellish torments that man could invent. Yet he, along with many of our ancestors, endured that pain as well. As horrible as it was, eventually all would be well again. Because like Epicurus says, nothing is unending. You just need to be strong and gracious enough to get through it. And to get through it, you gotta have a plan. A 1-month plan, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. But don't stay too long when you know it's killing you. Right? So, thank you for joining me, guys. And I will see you tomorrow. I'll do another session of this week. I'm planning to do this like every weekday. So, yep, I hope you learned something. I hope you have your plans ready and written down and read them. Read them as often as you pray, because writing your plans and reading your plans is prayer, and prayer is affirmations. All right? Okay. Good night, and thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.